I've learned that the mind is a battlefield, and I have no allies but silence. Every glance hides a story. Every word conceals a knife. To survive, I must see before I act, feel without surrendering, and wield control like a shadow in the corners of their awareness. I remember the first time I realized how much the world moves while I remain unseen. Faces speak in whispers my ears cannot hear. Gestures betray truths that eyes alone would miss. It begins with observation, not action, not judgment, just the still, deliberate recording of every flicker, every hesitation, every tremor in the tone of a friend's voice. People reveal themselves in their smallest movements. A tap of a finger, a shifting gaze, a laugh that comes too late. These are signs. Patterns emerge, invisible threads connecting intent to outcome. The law of observation is simple, yet merciless. See everything, reveal nothing. To break it is to surrender power before it can be claimed. I have walked rooms where loyalty masquerades as warmth, where smiles thinly veil ambition, and where trust is currency spent too freely. In those moments, I learned that to act hastily is to betray oneself. To speak prematurely is to give away the map while others still wander lost. I catalogued intentions like a librarian of shadows, and in the quiet, I began to understand the rules that govern human desire. There is a subtle thrill in this: knowledge, the secret comprehension of motives that remain hidden to all around me. And yet, with it comes a torment, the burden of awareness. You witness betrayals before they occur, glimpses of cruelty before they are committed. And yet, you are bound by law, by strategy. Reveal nothing. Your silence becomes armor, your discretion a weapon. I watched a friend, a woman with a smile that could fracture hearts, place trust in another while I understood the storm brewing beneath her gentleness. She did not know that I saw the tremor in her fingers, the hesitation behind her laughter. In time, the truth fell, and I held it in my hands, unspoken, unshared. I was both witness and guardian of my own mind. Observation teaches patience. It teaches that action is not always immediate, that knowledge itself is power. The first law is not to control others. It is to control your understanding of them. Watch, catalogue, and wait. See every mask peel away and never let them know you see it all. The first cracks of betrayal emerge when you learn too much about those who think themselves safe from your gaze. And when the cracks appear, you will already be ready. This is the foundation, the ground beneath your feet, unseen but unshakable. By mastering the art of seeing without revealing, you begin to reclaim dominion over your own mind, and through it, the world itself. I once believed that love, that raw, aching tenderness, was the greatest strength a man could wield. I was wrong. Strength is not in feeling, it is in enduring. In watching the world attempt to pierce you, to fracture you, and yet standing unmoved, impervious. The law of emotional detachment is cruel, but it is the only shield against those who would weaponize your weakness. Detachment is not absence. It is deliberate control. It is the careful parsing of emotion into observation, turning hurt into insight, obsession into strategy. Each betrayal, each whispered lie, each smile that hides a dagger is a lesson in restraint. The pain exists. Yes, it burns beneath the ribs, but it no longer dictates my action. My mind, once a prisoner of affection, becomes a citadel. I remember her. She was beauty incarnate, with a laugh that could unseat reason. And I was drawn, as any man would be, believing connection meant safety. But she was a master of influence, a sculptor of desire. I felt every cut of manipulation, every subtle dismissal, every invisible pull. I was shattered. And then I began to harden. Emotional detachment is learned in fragments. You allow yourself to feel just enough to observe, just enough to read, just enough to plan. Beyond that, you refuse. You refuse the seduction of pain, the lure of infatuation, the trap of expectation. People will test your walls. They will prod, poke, and demand your vulnerability. The law is simple. Do not give it freely. Your heart is a fortress. Let them see the gates, but never enter. Patterns reveal themselves through repeated offenses. Notice how people exploit weakness, how kindness is leveraged, how smiles hide agendas. When a friend betrays you, when a lover deceives you, do not rage, do not flinch. The law demands observation paired with stillness. You may feel collapse, but you will show composure. In the silence of your reaction, power grows. Detachment does not erase desire, it tempers it. Like fire contained in iron, emotion becomes potential, not destruction. And when you must act, you act with clarity, not impulse. Pain has sharpened you. Betrayal has honed your instinct. The strongest men are not those who love without consequence, but those who endure without surrender. The first major fracture in my trust came unexpectedly, like the cracking of ice underfoot. I felt the cold seep into my chest, the betrayal slicing through the layers of patience I had built. And still, I remained unmoved on the surface. Inside, a storm raged, and it is in that storm that detachment proves its worth. You survive. You endure. You emerge. This law is the bedrock upon which mental strength is forged. Harden the heart, temper the mind, and allow no one to manipulate the tremors within. In emotional detachment, you discover the quiet, unshakable core of self. And through it, the first taste of silent power. Patience is not passive. It is a discipline, a ruthless insistence on timing over impulse. The law of strategic patience demands that you endure, observe, and calculate while others act recklessly. A hasty strike betrays the mind that wields it. Time, measured and deliberate, reveals every hidden hand. I learned this watching the dance of ambition around me. People rush toward gratification, toward confrontation, toward victory, blind to the currents beneath their feet. I wait. I measure their steps, the hesitation in their speech, the flicker of doubt in their eyes, the small contradictions that betray their intentions, all become instruments in the orchestra of foresight. Internal conflict is constant. The urge to act, to strike, to unmask the deceiver claws at my mind. But I have learned to resist. Every premature reaction is a gift to them. Patience is calculated cruelty. By waiting, by allowing the world to move unimpeded, I see the cracks widen, the masks slip, the truths emerge. Signs appear subtly, a shift in loyalty, a pause before a word, an inconsistency in behavior. These are threads connecting motive to consequence. When they appear, I do not act. I catalogue. I prepare. Let others rush. Let them reveal their flaws through their own haste. My strength lies in restraint. Strategic patience teaches a painful intimacy with time. Every moment of waiting feels like sand slipping through fingers, a tension that gnaws at the soul. And yet, it is in this tension that clarity emerges. Every action taken in patience carries precision. Every move made in stillness delivers impact. The first calculated reveal of betrayal came not with fury, but with cold understanding. I allowed deceit to unfold before my eyes. I watched, silent, while others collapsed into their own lies. And when I finally moved, the world shifted, the pieces aligned, and I held advantage. Not because I struck first, but because I waited, watched, and understood. Patience is not weakness. It is power refined. It is the law that teaches us to endure in the quiet while others stumble in their desire. Time is the weapon of the disciplined mind, and those who master it will see the world bend, not with force, but with inevitability. Through patience, observation becomes action, knowledge becomes control, and betrayal, when it comes, strengthens rather than destroys. The quiet rhythm of waiting becomes a chant of power. Do not act too soon. Wait, watch, understand. And when the moment arrives, strike with certainty. Night falls, and I sit alone, replaying every conversation, every glance, every unspoken word. My mind is a stage, and I am both actor and audience. I rehearse the betrayals that might come, the confrontations I may face, the victories I must claim. This is the law of mental rehearsal. Anticipate every outcome, so no moment catches you unprepared. Fear is a teacher here. It whispers of what might shatter you, what could tear apart the walls you've built. But fear alone is not enough. I take it, shape it, dissect it, and fold it into strategy. Every imagined slight, every hypothetical manipulation becomes a rehearsal for mastery. Each night, I walk the labyrinth of my own mind, exploring every corridor, every hidden passage where deceit might lurk. Patterns emerge in repetition. People act in predictable rhythms when pressed. Desire, greed, obsession, fear, they all leave signatures. I note them carefully. The way a smile falters before a lie, the hesitation before a request, the subtle tug at confidence meant to destabilize. These are not coincidences, they are the language of intent, and I read it fluently. Rehearsal is not paranoia, it is preparation. By envisioning every possible betrayal, I am never surprised. By simulating every emotional trap, I remain unshakable. By predicting every reaction, I gain control over the chaos others unwittingly unleash. The mind that practices is the mind that dominates. Internal conflict persists. Part of me longs for the simplicity of trust, of surrendering to the flow of human connection. But I know better. Connection is a battlefield. Surrender is a surrender of power. Each rehearsal fortifies my resilience, strengthens my resolve, and tempers my patience. Pain becomes familiar, and I use it to sculpt mental fortitude. The first confrontation comes as I predicted. Her words, her actions, her veiled contempt, all mirror the scenarios I had rehearsed. And I meet them not with panic or heartbreak, but with measured response. My mind had already rehearsed the victory, the silence, the calculated reply. I am unbroken. I am ready. This law teaches a profound truth. The mind is a weapon, sharpened in the theater of anticipation. Each imagined betrayal, each rehearsed confrontation, each night spent walking through darkness alone is practice for mastery. By anticipating the worst, we ensure that nothing, when it comes, can defeat us. Mental rehearsal transforms fear into power, chaos into clarity, and vulnerability into strategy. Power is not always visible. It does not announce itself with shouts or fury. Often, it is quiet, imperceptible, a force bending the world around you while remaining unseen. The law of controlled influence teaches that dominance need not be blunt. It can be subtle, surgical, invisible. I have learned to move others as though they were pieces on a chessboard. A glance here, a word there, a carefully measured silence. These are instruments of influence. I bend situations, not with force, but with precision. People reveal themselves in response to subtle nudges. They act according to the paths I create, often without realizing they are moving at all. Internal conflict is always present. I feel the thrill of invisible control, tempered by fear of exposure. Influence is power, but exposure is vulnerability. To master it, I must walk a razor's edge, guide, manipulate, and never reveal. This is not cruelty for its own sake, it is strategy. Emotional detachment allows me to wield influence without becoming entangled in the consequences. Signs are everywhere. People respond to suggestion, hesitation, flattery, authority. They betray themselves when you know what to look for. The subtle deference to opinion, the tiny concessions made unconsciously, the eagerness to please. By noticing, I gain leverage. By restraining my reaction, I maintain dominance. Controlled influence is an art of restraint. You must give just enough to move others, but never so much that they see your hand. A compliment, a nod, a gesture. These small instruments shift minds without resistance. Every interaction becomes a test of patience, observation, and subtlety. Those who underestimate silence and subtlety are easily broken. Those who master it break the world without raising a hand. The climax comes when alliances fracture quietly. I watch friends, lovers, and rivals alike bend toward the paths I have created. They do not know the orchestration behind their movements, and that is the power of control unseen. Betrayal occurs around me, yet it strengthens rather than weakens me because I anticipate it, guide it, and harness it. This law is a reminder. Power is most lethal when invisible. Influence is a shadow, bending reality while leaving no footprint. Master it, and you move the world without revealing your hand. Bend without breaking, guide without warning, and in that silence you become unstoppable. Forgiveness is often mistaken for weakness, but the law of ruthless forgiveness teaches the contrary. To forgive strategically is to reclaim power. To forgive emotionally is surrender. To forgive intentionally is dominion. Pain is transformed into insight, betrayal into calculation, obsession into preparation. I have held grudges that scorched my chest, revenge that pulsed beneath my skin, and I learned the futility of clinging to them. To forgive strategically is to release, but only on your terms. Only when it strengthens your position, clarifies your mind, or frees space for a new advantage. The act is deliberate, cold, and calculated. Internal conflict simmers. Part of me wants to unleash the fury, to allow the betrayal to consume the air around me, but I do not. I embrace the pain, examine it, let it teach me. Then I release it, not to them, but to myself. Forgiveness is a weapon, and it strikes with precision when wielded wisely. Signs of repeated offenses are easy to see when you watch attentively. A word said too often, a pattern of deception, the subtle manipulation that goes unnoticed by others. These are markers that demand observation and patience. They teach the mind to recognize what can be tolerated and what must be used. The climax arrives as the final betrayal unfolds, and I meet it with clarity, not rage. I forgive silently, with a mind sharpened by rehearsal and detachment, and I release what no longer serves me. This act of ruthless forgiveness leaves me free, prepared, and unassailable. This law teaches that true strength lies not in holding pain, but in mastering it. Forgive as a weapon, release as strategy. Let betrayal become insight, let loss become advantage. In this you claim dominion over yourself, over your emotions, and over those who would try to manipulate you. At last, all the laws converge. Observation, detachment, patience, rehearsal, influence, and forgiveness, they culminate in one immutable truth. Power begins and ends within. The law of silent power is simple. Control yourself, and you control everything else. I reflect on the scars that remain, the betrayals witnessed, the manipulation endured. Each lesson, each law, has brought me to this unshakable core. The world may move with chaos and noise, but within me is a stillness, a dominion, untouched by fear or desire. Silent power is not arrogance. It is mastery over the tumult, mastery over thought, over emotion, over reaction. Signs of true mastery are subtle: respect, hesitation, fear in others. It emerges naturally when you command without spectacle, when you act without declaration. People bend to your presence not because you demand it, but because you embody control. And that control begins with the quiet understanding of self. Internal conflict does not vanish. Shadows of doubt, echoes of past pain, the remnants of obsession, they remain. But they are tempered now, transformed into fuel. The mind that has endured, observed, rehearsed, influenced, and forgave becomes unbreakable. Every betrayal now strengthens rather than diminishes. Every observation becomes insight, every restraint, power. The reflection is clear. Silent power is invincible because it is self-contained. It does not depend on approval, fear, or loyalty. It is the law within, the unshakable dominion over thought, feeling, and reaction. It is the ultimate strategy, the final mastery, the last law that governs all others. And so I remain, a witness to the world, a master of self. The betrayals, the manipulations, the obsessions, they have all served to carve this space inside me, this citadel of unbroken will. Here, in the silence, I am whole. Here I am power. Here nothing can reach me.